Welkom bij onze webinarseries Microsoft beter beveiligen en meer verdienen. We hebben vandaag bij ons George Smith. Hij is Senior Development Manager van Augment. Hij gaat jullie mee op reis nemen hoe je meer kunt halen uit je investeringen in Microsoft in combinatie met Augment. Onne is verantwoordelijk binnen Portland voor Augment als een product- en accountmanager van MSP's. En ik ben de oprichter-eigenaar van Portland. Wij zijn eigenlijk al een behoorlijke lange tijd met elkaar verbonden. Als ik kijk in het aantal ingeschrevenen, dan ken ik de meeste van jullie. Wij blijven bij onze leest om jullie te helpen efficiënter, productiever en winstgevender te worden met de keuze voor de juiste tools. We blijven altijd persoonlijk, we geven jullie advies tot en met eerste lijnse technische support. En vooral wat wij gewoon leuk vinden om te doen in ons DNA is het helpen om dat portfolio, het ideale portfolio samen te stellen. En ik dacht voor a change, ook omdat we binnenkort een dik event hebben op 1 december, waar ik jullie allemaal van harte voor ga uitnodigen, is dat we de afgelopen 20 jaar, als je het rijtje eronder ziet, waarvan meer dan de helft al verkocht is, altijd aan de beginfase hebben gestaan van het naar de markt brengen van deze merken. Wat betekent dat dan precies, die MSP Tech Stack? Nou, aan de ene kant, ik had het net even over met George Smith. Ik kom net terug uit Orlando, waar ConnectWise haar jaarlijks terugkerende evenement IT Nation heeft. En IT Nation is vooral bedoeld voor echt heel sec MSP's. Daarvoor had ik 2 dagen event van Aconis. En ik kon mezelf niet van de aandacht onttrekken dat de exponentieel snel groeiende hoeveelheid producten die naar de markt komt, dat niet anders dan een probleem begint te worden voor niet alleen die vendoren, maar ook voor ons als adviseurs, voor MSP's, voor jullie, maar ook zeker ook voor de end-user. Het is nogal lastig om in ieder geval op tijd en met de juiste producten en ook binnen de juiste budgetten de juiste tech-stack samen te stellen. Dus wat wij weten, wat we gezien hebben, wat onze ervaring is, er zijn dit ongeveer de 5 verticalen waarbinnen jullie producten zoeken om je MSP-business goed te laten draaien. En daarbinnen zoeken wij altijd naar die merken die in onze ogen eruit springen. Vooral natuurlijk leuk als dat in het begin van de hypecycle is. Waaronder in dit geval Augment. Maar dat is wat we doen, wat we blijven doen en wat ik vooral ook zelf heel leuk vind om te doen. En wat we ook met deze webinar-series en ook vooral events, de Futures Hybrid Events, graag op jullie overbrengen. Nou is het zo dat we aanstaande 1 december een event hebben in Maarsen. Ik wil jullie daar graag voor uitnodigen. Het begint al lekker vol te lopen. Dat kun je terugvinden op portland.eu/events, mocht je het nog niet gezien hebben. Om daar ook, zeg maar, met de co-founder van Augment een gesprek te voeren. Die zal overkomen uit Canada. Hij is onder andere medeoprichter van Enable. Dat was toch wel de eerste RMM-tool waar wij met z'n allen 20 jaar geleden en daarna nog een aantal van die RMM-tools hebben gezien. Maar dat heeft hij verkocht in 2012. En hij kon het toch niet laten om ook in dit geval weer een nieuw platform te gaan bouwen. Maar dan puur gericht op SaaS management. En ik noem dat gewoon gemakshalve remote management en monitoring 2.0. Dus ik zou heel graag het woord willen geven aan George Smith. Die gaat jullie mee op reis nemen in dit geheel. En dan zijn er altijd meer dan genoeg ruimte voor vragen stellen. Kun je rechts onderin, waar dat kleine wolletje zit, dat kleine ballonnetje zit, gewoon dwars doorheen komen. Onne zal dat gaan begeleiden. En zal misschien de vragen verzamelen en dan in één keer aan jullie stellen. Maar feel free om daar in ieder geval op te reageren. Dus George, the floor is yours. Welcome.
Great. Thanks for the warm introduction there, George. I will get my screen shared and we can jump straight in. So get this going. Okay. There we go. So everyone can see my screen okay? Perfect. Okay, guys. So we'll jump straight into it. First of all, thanks everyone for attending. We're going to be focused today sort of on Microsoft security services, and at Augment we've been working hard to try and better understand some of the details, the small print within Microsoft and their lengthy agreements and their convoluted licensing terms, just so that we can provide some detailed information for what might be some better opportunities for MSPs specifically. So for the agenda today, we're going to kind of start at that high level. We'll talk a little bit about M365 security. We'll dive into the licenses before talking actually about sort of the services that you guys can actually start making a little bit more money on, because the reality is a lot of businesses are using Microsoft, a lot of MSPs are managing Microsoft, but beyond maybe doing password resets and reselling licenses, not a lot of MSPs are doing a lot more than that. And so there's an opportunity to increase your monthly recurring revenue just by tweaking a few things. So, you know, the first thing I wanted to talk about was just sort of the current lay of the land. And I think this slide, we've got a couple of stats here just looking at some annual data breaches. The slide on the left kind of shows how recently, data compromises and number of records have been going up over time. And then actually individuals impacted is that gray line that has skyrocketed as we've seen that IT moves towards the cloud. More and more people are there, and kind of gone are the days where hackers are really targeting large businesses, that they're bringing that shotgun approach, spraying and seeing what comes back. One of the stories I highlight is, I think it was earlier this year, Dublin Hospital was hacked, and the staff at Dublin Hospital were like, really, guys? Like, we're a hospital, like, we don't have that much money. And the hackers kind of like, yeah, sorry, but like, you were kind of there for the taking, so you need to send us 5 bitcoins and we can help you do that. Like, the reality is they're a business now, they're very effective at what they do, and they have great customer service in terms of obtaining their ransomware payments. The other thing is, on the right here, a shot of sort of the geo distribution of IP addresses issuing password brute force attacks last year. I think there's this misconception where all the hacking is coming out of Eastern Europe or Russia or China. And again, that's not the case. It's happening everywhere. You can see all over the United States, all over Europe, South America, that they're everywhere. Speaking of it as a business, this was a great slide that our VP of product shared, which I thought was interesting, and just kind of highlighting how things are priced and how easy it is to go on the dark web and get a list of stolen username and password pairs, or actually hire someone for a specific job for as little as $250. It is a big business now that folks are making a lot of money on, and as I said, provide a great service. And in our opinion, MSPs are sort of really that last line of defense against these guys for small to medium business owners. So in terms of actually looking at security, this is something we saw recently in a different report in terms of the cybersecurity bell curve. And it's highlighting that if you have basic security hygiene, you will be protected against 98% of attacks. So if you are having things like least privilege access, enabling MFA, backing up your data, you will be protected in 98% of cases. I saw that and I thought it was interesting because fundamentally, I kind of disagree with that a little bit. I believe that the technology is there, and you can, if implemented correctly, definitely get your security baseline increased. But we know the human part of security is a big part of the equation, and so having that sort of third-party anti-phishing as well as just general security awareness training, I think is paramount in modern day society to really have that holistic approach to security. So just wanted to highlight that a lot of people will say, oh, if you have all these tools, you're going to be well protected. Even things like Augment, like we're a platform focused on cybersecurity. We don't actually do any of the third-party phishing or awareness training, but I think that's an equally important service to offer in modern day IT. So for anyone who doesn't know Augment, I'm just going to spend a quick minute just kind of giving you an idea of who we are, what we do. As George mentioned earlier, we were started by the same guys who founded Enable all the way back in 2000. And as then, they were helping sort of create managed services really by helping IT professionals go from a break-fix model through to a managed services model with the introduction and creation of an RMM. At that time, people didn't really know what it was. And now, fast forward 20 years later, every MSP uses an RMM. At Augment, we're trying to do the same thing by creating a platform for SaaS management and security that helps MSPs really manage the cloud applications, secure and alert on them for MSPs. It's important to note that we only work with MSPs, so we're fully channel centric. We're about to celebrate our 3rd year in business. We're based out of Canada. We have our SOC 2 compliance, and happy to report, thanks to fabulous partners like Portland and others across the globe in Australia and the UK as well, we've actually deployed over 1 million licenses to date. In terms of what the platform looks like, we have 3 distinct modules. Today, we're going to be focusing on Secure, as it does really kind of drill into security for Microsoft 365. But we also have Discover and Engage. Discover is really about shedding a spotlight on shadow IT. It gives you a full list of all the applications that your clients are using across your entire IT estate. And Engage is much more internal focused. It's basically helping you increase the speed and efficiency with which you can resolve about 80 to 90% of the tickets that come through for Microsoft and for Google with the click of a button, meaning that your technicians have more time, or even that you can spread resolving tickets to other non-technical staff like HR, interns, office administrators, etc. So to give a high-level overview in terms of that holistic platform, this is what it looks like. You're getting your SaaS inventory and visibility. We're covering the SaaS management and the SaaS security by providing those audits, you kind of enabling your help desk, and then actually with a security lens, providing sort of that audit, protect, detect motion. If we want to think about why that's important, let's look at one very specific example. Let's talk about multi-factor authentication is a big topic right now. I think a couple of years ago, the ball got rolling with a lot of people beginning to enforce it, but happy to see that it's increasing. But across the board, it's still something that is a first step that a lot of businesses need to take, and that a lot of businesses are kind of relying on their managed service provider to help them take. So at Augment, we really want to help MSPs get up to that managed stage. And if we look at MFA as a specific example, why is that important? So if you're all the way down in reactive, you could say that you're an MSP who sets up MFA, but you don't really monitor it or enforce security policies around it. You're just like, yep, here it is, it's available, you should turn it on. If something bad happens, we'll react to it. Compared to being proactive, where you set up and actually monitor MFA status and also use additional security policies to make sure that you are enforcing it. What that enables you to do is it's going to create less noise. It's going to increase security, which creates less issues, less tickets, which means that your technicians can manage more seats, which means that they're more effective, which in turn is a better business model for you because you're increasing their speed and efficiency, you're increasing your margin, you're making more money. And ideally what you want to get up to is manage, where we're actually, with regards to MFA specifically in this example, setting up, monitoring, enforcing, and then actually reporting on MFA as well, and other broader security policies and postures. So let's talk a little bit about Microsoft 365 licensing. We did our most popular webinar of the year earlier this year when Microsoft announced their pricing changes, and we didn't talk about Augment at all. We actually went deep into Microsoft licensing, and I think we had like over 200 people attend that webinar. So it was interesting to see that there's obviously a need and interest for education and details on this subject. Microsoft, I don't think, do a very good job of explaining it. Why would they, if there's little tripwires and small print here? So we'll kind of help simplify things today. And of course, if anybody wants more details on that price change that happened earlier this year, that webinar is available on demand on the Augment website. So we talk about licensing. This is actually direct from the Dutch Microsoft website. So things are in euros here, but I think there's a lot of different licenses types out there. We have basic, we have standard, we have premium, we have apps only, we have Azure, P1, P2. Things can get a little bit complicated. So if we actually break it down, I think it's fair to say that most MSPs are working or offering business standard or business premium licenses to their users. If we talk about why business premium is a popular choice, it's often because Microsoft market it and talk about how it brings that enterprise level security. It includes your Azure licenses. You get Microsoft, Defender and endpoint security, all these other bells and whistles that kind of give you that quote unquote enterprise level security. The problem with it is that you actually don't tick all those boxes unless you're using all of those tools together as sort of one platform. And we know that often, more than not, MSPs aren't doing that because maybe they have other tools like an RMM or a DNS filter, backup, other malware, firewalls, whatever that kind of overlap. And indeed, maybe they prefer those tools. So they're not maybe getting the most out of the business premium license. And I think as well, for a business premium license, it is more expensive. The costs can be hard to justify. And fundamentally for you as an MSP, it's eating into the margin that you can be making for your own business. In terms of like the one of the things we wanted to talk about was this is actually a screenshot from a LinkedIn conversation with our VP of product, Ali Mahmoud, and another MSP. And it's talking about how conditional access is really the way forward, specifically around some of the security elements like MFA, and just kind of forcing it to get the job done. That's something we've looked at and believe there's a real opportunity for MSPs to use that method too. It's something that you can actually now do within Augment, and we'll talk about that later. But I really want to highlight the sort of bottom comment there from the MSP who said, we just added Azure P1 to all of our client tenants over 300, and on the next invoice added a footer note explaining what it did and why, and if they wanted it removed, they could email us, and nobody did. And I think that's a really important key for a lot of MSPs to understand is when it comes to these security conversations, I think it's okay and it's actually better to remove the choice of the, hey, do you want to do this? What are you thinking? It's just to say, no, this is a security best practice. We are doing this. Here's the charge. If you want it removed, you can contact us. And from a psychological point of view, that then is a different choice for the end user instead of choosing whether or not they want to pay for something extra to actually deciding to remove something security related. So I think that's an important thing to understand and something that we kind of help motion MSPs to do specifically when they're talking around upselling security services. So let's kind of focus in on the problem here in terms of Microsoft licensing. So, you know, with the cost increase in terms of dollars over here in North America, it's $12.50 to $22. Over in Holland, I believe standard plan is, according to the Microsoft website today, €10.50, and a premium plan is €18.60. So again, still a costly upgrade and something that can be hard to justify to enhance those security services for the end user. So what we're saying is that, you know, instead of doing that premium plan for $18.60, let's break down some of the numbers here. If you go with a standard plan for $10.50 and then add that Azure AD premium license for $6, you still have euros. You still have €2.10 left to play with to include your security services. And what a lot of people don't understand is whenever we talk about the premium licensing, that doesn't come out of the box all set up. Like that is something MSPs, administrators need to go in and configure. There's work to be done there. So any smart business person is probably going to stick some margin on there. So for a nice round number, we'll say that sort of the end user's premium plan cost is €20. That's giving you a revenue of €1.40. But under our model, using the business standard, coupled with that Azure AD premium license, and then actually adding on the security bundle services to cover the configuration, your time and effort, and indeed some of the other tools you may want to include, like an augment, like a backup, like your RMM, whatever it is, you've got your $3.50 there. So it's almost, you're more than doubling the margin or the money you have available. I think that's really the key thing that we want to focus on here is there's a smarter and better way to do this, not for all of your clients, because some of your clients may truly need business premium and want that, but certainly for a lot of the smaller guys, it may be a bit much for them, or maybe they're not fully leveraging it, or need all those bells and whistles. But having this sort of business standard plus the security services is a really good way for you to unlock some money. And most importantly, it's not changing the price for the end user, and they're going to get stronger security out of it as well. So in terms of, we can break down this opportunity and what it looks like and how kind of Augment helps specifically. So, you know, pick your acronym, security-based acronym here, NIST, ISO, whatever. A lot of them tend to focus on the same things. You need to be, you know, auditing things so you can find where improvements can be made, so that you can protect and so that you can detect things moving forward. And that's really what our secure module does in terms of what it offers. And I can do a quick demo at the end of this so people get a look and feel for how that module works. But we have MFA alerting. We have the ability to manage policies and configure security postures, as well as kind of have ongoing live threat analysis as well. And then just you know, a kind of quote from one of our partners there, you know, as businesses have moved systems to the cloud, criminals have changed tactics and continued their attack. Cloud software security tools are now a must-have part of an effective cyber defense. And for anyone who was on at the beginning of the call, George was talking about how, you know, at IT Nation, there was 160 vendors there, and it's crazy how many guys are on the market with a pure focus on cybersecurity now. So in terms of Augment, We have the best of both worlds, or we believe, in terms of you have to be proactive, okay? You have to build the walls. You have to, if we compare it to a house, we want to make sure that people are locking their doors, they have a fence, they have the guard dog, they have the spotlight, you know, all those good things, so that the burglar alarm, again, the reactive portion of it, when it goes off, we know that something serious has happened. So in terms of what that looks like within Augment, our proactive approaches around the auditing, the investigating, the configuring to kind of improve that security baseline. And then we have that defense, that reactive part around sort of the ongoing threat analysis and making sure that we know what's happening and kind of can take action against real-time threat alerts. Again, just to kind of come back, just to remind you guys, we do have the other two modules as well in Discover and Engage, but that's what Augment's looking to do is be this comprehensive platform that provides you with SaaS scalability, SaaS ops, and of course, SaaS security. Now, moving that towards a customer-facing conversation, just again, using Augment, and we don't need to talk about backup or RMMs or anything else here. Just using Augment immediately through M365, you can deliver 3 key projects to your customers. The first one would be multi-factor authentication. Mr. Customer, we are getting everybody up and running on MFA. This is non-negotiable. Microsoft has that crazy stat where something like 99.99% of compromised accounts that they tracked weren't using MFA. So by getting that turned on, we're going to have significant increases in our security. We can do it with a conditional access policy using Microsoft Authenticator or a product like Duo, but it's a one-time project. We're getting everyone set up. The second project is MFA is just one pillar of security. There's lots of other things that we can do to enhance the security of your Microsoft account. We want to get everything green, everything up to a high score to enable those security best practices. So that's the second project that we're going to be doing. Ongoing, we have the need for threat detection, okay? So again, hackers have that shotgun approach, whether it's just password blasts or phishing or looking for inactive accounts. Those are all things that we want to set up to review alerts for, to make sure that we're kind of being constantly vigilant against those ongoing threats. The bottom line is that the customer is more secure. You're able to build a higher margin for your services and kind of set things up so that a lot of it is automated, and it's removing what a lot of MSPs today are doing, which is just that kind of cumbersome manual going tenant by tenant by tenant in Microsoft, logging in, fixing things, it taking hours, logging out, clearing your cache, going to the next customer. It's too much, and that's why maybe MSPs aren't doing as good a job as they could. So in terms of presenting that to the customer, here's what we suggest doing. You simply outline the services that you're providing, the additional cost that it'll be per user. So we've had a lot of effect this in the United States and Canada, where people are charging an extra $3 to $4 per user. You could make it euros or bump it up, keep it lower, whatever. But the key thing is the signature at the bottom. Sign on the blue line to accept this security and management service to protect my M365 environment, or no, I'm signing on the red line because I'm declining these services, but in return, I'm also accepting all risk from my Microsoft data and security. And whenever you position it like that to a customer, it becomes a slightly different conversation, because they need to understand that things aren't as secure or protected as they need to be. Someone has to fix it. Someone has to keep an eye on it. Are they going to pay you to do it, or are they going to do it? That's a powerful sales conversation as well. So to kind of wrap things up here, I just wanted to highlight a couple of things from our partner success. I think that the key quote at the top is one of my favorites. You know, we are a startup. We have been in business for just under 3 years, but are seeing a huge amount of traction within the MSP community, not only because I think our platform is solving a problem, but also having worked and being founded by guys that have been in the space for 20 years. You know, they know what MSPs want. And that's why I would say right now we're much more focused on partnerships than transactions. We have an amazing go-to-market plan for all our partners. We have fantastic partner success support. We provide you with all the collateral and tools you need. We do free onboarding calls. I still can't believe that there's vendors out there today that say, hey, if you want us to onboard your tool, that'll be a 30-minute call and we're going to bill you hundreds of dollars. We just offer that for free as white glove treatment. In terms of what you can actually get today, we have a full free NFR for anyone who's not an Augment partner already. And indeed, you can actually get free licenses as well. So we'll share the link for that in just a moment. Perhaps most importantly, it's a month-to-month contract, okay? So there's no annual or 3-year deals. It's just rolling month to month. You pay up front for the 30 days, can cancel anytime, and then obviously you'll have the remainder of what's left on those 30 days. And after that, your subscription stops and you can activate it again in the future if you like. But we're all about just, here is the platform, here's licenses, here's some free licenses even before you pay to use on your customers to really see the value. There's no, oh, you've only got 14 days or have access to the platform, but it's only this little bit of functionality. It's, here's all of Augment, use it, love it, make money on it, and then come talk to Anna whenever you want to buy some licenses. So the other thing I'd highlight there is that is the link, guys. So you can pop that in the chat. Just try.augment.com/Portland-distributor 100 free if you want to complete the online form on that promotional page. We'll get you set up with your NFR and 100 free licenses. And indeed, you can reach out directly to Anna for our MSP playbook, which kind of just goes into a bit more detail about some of the items that we've covered today as well. I know George already spoke about it, but I just wanted to highlight as well. We will, of course, be at the Wintegrations event on December 1st, and specifically our chairman and co-founder Gavin Garbutt will be there in person. So I know he's going to be having some very interesting things to say about the space, about cybersecurity with a lens on SaaS, and of course specifically about Augment, and a great opportunity for anyone interested in speaking with him in a more intimate setting and kind of picking his brain over all things MSP. Certainly a fantastic opportunity. So we look forward to being there and hopefully seeing some of you guys in Utrecht as well. What I'll do now, guys, if I've got some time, I will just, you guys can still see my screen here, the Augment platform. I can just take you guys through a quick demo of our secure module so you can see exactly what I mean whenever I'm talking about how we're making life easier for MSPs managing and configuring Microsoft security. So Augment fundamentally is broken down into sort of a number of different reports. Some are external, some are internal. And what we're doing is using the Microsoft API to bring all the information from our different Microsoft customers into one easy, intuitive portal. So if I start here with the threat report, it's fully multi-tenant. I've got my healthcare client here, but I could also drill into anyone, marketing, MSP, legal, whoever. I've got a date filter. I can go back as far as 3 months. Of course, I can export this information as a PDF if I wanted to send it as an email. But what the threat report does is it's highlighting all of the sort of risky things that are happening in someone's account. So you can see here, there's almost 200 things happening. This trend line is going up over time because we're not addressing the security concerns. You, Mr. Customer, are a dentist in the Netherlands, so I'm not sure why we have activity coming from Spain or North America or Australia or India or China. And you can see here we have high, medium, and low risky things happening. Your identity score, according to Microsoft, isn't very good. Your secure score is even worse. I can show you the types of risks that we're seeing, whether it's impossible travel, leaked credentials. I can share your top accounts at risk. You know, you can see here 2 of them are actually your global administrators, which is a significant concern for us. And if you want to actually get detailed about those sort of, 190 something risks, I can show you the who, what, where, when of exactly what's happening. We can also look at some of the key pillars of security, and we've talked about MFA and why that's important. We've kind of covered that crazy stat about the 99.9% of compromised accounts, but even other things like inactive accounts. Did you know that these 3 people are technically inactive now? And that can be a great target for attackers who are looking to find ways to access your data without being noticed. So, Mr. Customer, how do you want me to deal with the risk that I've uncovered for you today? So this can be a great sales tool, guys, for existing customers and indeed prospects to highlight the security need within their Microsoft account. Now, hopefully, once then they've signed up to your services, you need to get to work and start making them more secure. And that's where our security posture report comes in. So again, fully multi-tenant here, I can get that kind of high-level view of all my companies. And what it's showing me here at a high level is, the percentage that have things configured correctly only partially configured, or nothing configured in terms of security postures and policies at all. And you can see here over half of my customers don't have anything set up, which is a bit of a concern. And as I can scroll down here, I can actually get that high level view. Here we can see legal actually has nothing green here. So again, I can click view details or use the drop down menu, but we'll just click view details here to show you a different navigation route to go in. And this is basically now your roadmap for securing this particular Microsoft tenant. So you can see here they only have 3 out of 15 security posture recommendations sort of enabled or partially configured here. And we can break down the list here. So we can see the security check, the category, the status, tags associated, and then the status detail. So for example, you can see here user MFA. Okay, what's going on here? It's only partially configured. You have 3 of 4 user accounts that don't use MFA. Okay, so let's go and fix that then. So I'm going to drill in. It's going to load my users here. Again, we're just pulling all this information into Microsoft, so everything can be done multi-tenant from within this nice, neat portal of Augment Secure. So I can see here all my accounts. I can see the people that do have MFA on. Thank you, Edith, for getting that done. And then I can see the non-compliant accounts. Okay, so we've got Caitlin, Bruce, and Bob all don't have MFA. And again, in terms of some of this, the security checks, some of them can be a little bit obscure as to why they're important. We provide the detail here on why this is something that you need to configure and why it should be done. We can then hop to the configure tab to actually remediate and fix this problem. We can do it in 2 ways, specifically around MFA by creating a new conditional access policy, okay, and kind of going from there straight from within the Augment portal. Or we can use Azure to tick all employees and enforce MFA straight away from within Augment Secure. So what this allows MSPs to do is actually hand over, you don't need to give access to the Microsoft portal to a technician because most of this can be done within the Microsoft portal. And you can say, okay, your job for the week, Mr. Technician, is to use Augment to go through and fix all of these bits and pieces. Right? And even for some of the things that maybe we can't do within Augment that would require access to Microsoft, for example, login portal branding, we can actually have the next best thing. So although today you can't do this within Augment, it's something that we're working on. Whenever you go to the configure tab, there's the step-by-step instructions with screenshots of exactly how you would do this from within the Microsoft portal. And there's a nice easy link there for the technician to go and log in using the admin credentials. Once you've got everything, again, this project that I'm talking about, the security baseline, getting everything green, getting everything secured, that's where we want things to stay. So we can use the posture alerts report to set up some notifications to say, if there's a drop in compliance across any of these things, whether it's admin MFA or a new account becomes inactive, send me an email immediately so I can go in and investigate it. That way I don't have to keep coming in and looking through lists of things. I can just set up these rules to say, if this security issue happens or there's a decrease in compliance, notify me of what that is so I can go in and fix it. One of the other reports we have that's actually hugely popular with a lot of our partners, specifically around the topic of cyber insurance, is the MFA report. And what this is a high-level view of the MFA status of specifically for M365 across all your clients. So you can see here, Acme Legal not looking so good, only 33% required and only 33% active. But something like Acme Marketing, this is what we want. So at Acme Marketing, 83% of employees are, based on the policies and rules we have, 83% are required to have MFA. And of those 83%, everybody has it turned on and is using it. And we can even show if they're using it by app, by phone, by security key. And this is kind of the standard. This is where we want to get all our clients to, so that in the event that an audit happens or you're looking for cybersecurity insurance and the broker asks, do you have MFA on? You can say, yes, here's this Augment report dated at this day saying, here's the MFA status for all my Microsoft tenants. There you go. I'm doing a great job. MFA is active across the board. Now, the last 2 reports are more kind of, one's internal, one's external. We have a threat alerts report here. So again, we've got all companies, or I can drill into something like legal here. Again, we have the date filter. You can go as far back as 3 months, and we have our alerts and settings tab. Now, for those of you that are familiar with Microsoft alerts, you're probably aware that in the Microsoft portal, it is just a toggle. That's all it is. It's on or it's off. It's all or it's nothing. And a lot of MSPs tend to have it turned off because it can become incredibly noisy with Microsoft sending you alerts from everything that is serious, like there has been, you know, this account, there's suspicious activity going on, compared to we've done this update. So what Augment allows you to do is go into the settings tab, and here's all the different alerts, and then you can toggle what you want to come through to your PSA to create tickets to investigate. So you can see here multiple failed user logon attempts to a service. Okay, is that somebody trying to hack into something? Yeah, notify me if that's a thing, and just kind of have that toggle system there. We can then actually go into the alerts and get some insight into, you can see here this graph, so the email notifications sent versus the alerts generated. So you know how we're quietening some of the noise coming through to our PSA. But also what's pretty cool from within Augment is if there's something that's happened, you can actually tick the alert and begin to immediately remediate some of the issues. So from here we can reset the password, you know, unblock, sign in or sign out of all apps, and even reset password. It's as simple as, you know, am I manually creating this? Am I auto creating it? Am I sending it to me or am I sending it to somebody else? Reset password, done. Don't need to go to a separate portal. We don't need to go open up a new tab. We can actually reset passwords and take action straight from within the Augment Secure Threat Alerts tab. Last report, guys, and then I'm done. Go ahead.
Yeah, we had a question a couple of slides back.
Yeah.
From Chris. This looks a bit like the default Microsoft information that can also be seen through security.microsoft.com. What if I want to check my tenants against the Microsoft 365 CIS benchmark? Is that possible? Can I define my own security baselines?
Can you define your own security baselines? I'm not sure. I'd have to ask our product team about that. So whoever asked that question, can I get your contact details? I can get back to you specifically on those technical details. Or if you want, you can put it directly to me at george.smith@augment and can respond that way. But can certainly find that out for you. Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, will do.
Okay, thanks to Chris, was it? Okay, Chris. We'll get that information for you later today. So finally, the summary report is basically the opposite to the threat report. It's the this is what you're paying me for report. Okay, so when we talk about we're charging you guys like an extra 3-4 euros per month to have this ongoing service, you know, we're keeping things at that security baseline. Here's why you're paying that. I've prevented a total of 15 incidents this month, okay? You can see that the incidence trend now is actually going down, okay? Less bad things are happening. Why? Because I've improved your identity score to 92%. I've improved your security score to 88%. Multi-factor authentication is going up. Here's actually some of the specific incidents I've prevented, whether it's preventing risky sign-in detections or intercepting risky users, blocking IP addresses from specific countries. And again, we can break this out to the who, what, where, or when. So that is Augment Secure, guys. I'm happy, you know, I kind of don't want to take up too much time. There's also Discover and Engage. So I would encourage you guys to reach out to Anna, and I'm sure he'd be happy to give you guys a demo of that or go into more detail on Secure. But as I mentioned, we do have 100 free licenses available for everyone for Discover, and then you actually get free licenses of Secure and Engage as well, so you can roll it out to your clients too. So with that, I will stop presenting. If anybody has any more additional questions, please let me know.
There were no more questions in the chat. So then, if somebody wants to ask just a question by asking the question like talking, then you can raise your hand at the lower, you know, this one. You hear this little hand there. You see my hand. And if anything wants to add.
Right, George, I'll kick it back to you to wrap up.
Super. Thank you so much, George, for explaining all this. It's a wrap. Thank you for joining. I'm always happy to see so many attendees coming to those presentations. We do those webinars. And again, feel free to register for the 1st of December in Marsen. We start at 4, bars open, and then we, you know, do the presentations. But most importantly, we will show you what those integrations mean for you as an IT service provider. So don't expect commercial blah blah blah. It is more, we show how the products work and how we can integrate those products that we present. We've got 2 Dutch companies, sales builder from Victor Raze. He was a long time manager for Datto. He's built his own little company. We have an application link that is great at building APIs to glue it all together, your whole company tech stack, if that's possible, if that's needed. So it's going to be a joyful event. So I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you all for coming, and maybe talk soon.